What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about that Ghostbusters game. I'm several days late, and I do want to thank everybody who sent me the link to it. I believe this happened on Saturday, so we are several days. But I tried not to record too many videos on the weekend. But pretty much, this is like a confirmation. This is the co-founder of the studio, co-founder of Illfonic, confirmed that they're making a Ghostbusters game. So it's not really getting. Maybe it will today and like tomorrow, like once people hit the activate button on their work week, but it really hasn't been getting much press at all, considering like it's about as confirmed as it gets. It's just, I guess there's been nobody really running anything with it, but they're doing it. They're going to be working on a Ghostbusters game, or they are working on a Ghostbusters game. Now, it's important to separate in which I think most people understand, but maybe don't. Not all of them do. Illfonic from like Gun Media, right? These are not the makers of Friday the 13th. These are the makers of Predator Hunting Grounds, etc. Gun Media is the one that we're looking at, or that I've talked about actually before, in terms of a Leatherface game, which I actually think over the weekend that got more rumors too that's going to happen. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a Ghostbusters game from the makers most recently of Predator Hunting Grounds, and I believe that Armageddon. That game that was released over the summer that honestly I didn't even play one time. It kind of came out, and I don't think anybody played it. That's just my, when you say something like that, though, you tend to make people upset. Anyway, Ghostbusters game. Now, people are obviously connecting it specifically to Sony, number one, because obviously recently, Illfonic seems to be, working with Sony quite heavily. Predator Hunting Grounds was a PlayStation console exclusive at launch. You have that Armageddon game, or Arcadeageddon. Hopefully people don't get too mad. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. And that was I think that came out on Epic Game Store as well. But, both of them were also just on PlayStation. So obviously there's something going on there. Plus, Sony owns the rights to Ghostbusters, so you have to, attach that to it. I just hope they do it justice. I believe it was the 2009, was that the year 2009's Ghostbusters game? Was awesome. It was legitimately good. But this is one of those franchises, much like a lot of them, that are in the same kind of vein, where you could just have bad after bad after bad. And granted, I don't know, I have a very, and I've said this before, and I don't really think people get too upset. I have a very love-hate relationship with really both Illfonic and Gun Media. I have a love-hate relationship with Friday the 13th. Sometimes I absolutely loved it, sometimes I absolutely hated it. Same thing for Predator, and then Arcadeageddon, I don't really have an opinion on, other than I don't think it was very popular. Again, that's just my opinion. But, so honestly, that does make its way into here. Because it's like a 50-50 thing. You have to imagine it's online. They've done nothing to suggest this would be like cooperative, obviously, but nothing suggests that this would be like a single-player thing. And I guess the one thing I'd be very worried on is what actually I think made the 2009 version good is the actors came back. I think visually it looked really, really good, but also like it was a story game. It was a single player, experience. So I think, that was the main thing. So that's the one thing that Illfonic has never been able. I do not consider like and again, like Gun Media, even for Friday the 13th, right? Like the challenge modes, or like, I don't know, any of the story stuff going on in the background of any of these games is flat out just not good. At least it's not good enough to carry like a single player game. So, you have to keep that in mind. But again, if it's designed to be a cooperative, almost like and I'm just throwing this around here, like a Left 4 Dead / Back 4 Blood kind of situation, right? Where it's 3 other people, and you're going around, you got the suits on, you got the weaponry, and you're just kind of hunting ghosts. Like, that's the entire idea. That could be very, very cool. At the same time, though, then you have to worry about the voice acting. You have to worry about, the mechanics normally are pretty okay. I think you should have to worry about that, but it's not like at the top of the list. The story elements, though, are probably the biggest thing. Why you're there. Again, like Predator Hunting Grounds, very love-hate relationship. I think they did a lot of things there right. I think it's got way more staying power than Friday the 13th or anything like that. But at the same time, when you drop into the jungle, which is the same exact map every single time, even though they're different, the reasoning you're there, like the objectives you're doing, could not be worse. The explanations, just the story that's going on. And you could argue, well, that's not the point. I would argue for Ghostbusters, it's a little bit more of the point, where personality, characters, jokes, the I don't know, like literally the banter between members is way more important, than it would be in Predator Hunting Grounds or even Friday the 13th. And again, I get they're two different studios, but you see what I mean? I just think different things are way more important for a Ghostbusters game of any kind. Doesn't matter if it's multiplayer or not, that I don't know if Illfonic has been able to do yet. So, yeah, I'm going to go in with skepticism. People will say, don't judge it until you see it, and then when you see it, they'll say, don't judge it until you play it, and then when you play it, they'll have something else to say. But, I mean, I'm just going to go in skeptical, because also you have to remember that, well, number one, Ghostbusters is huge, but number two, like, Illfonic is still definitely a smaller studio. Like, their games are for people, but it's not for, like, there's a huge section of people that have never played one of Illfonic's games, never will, doesn't like them in the first place, and then I would say there's the people that have played that are either, on their side, not on their side, have kind of mixed opinions like I do. So, like, they're not playing to the entire gaming stratosphere, which is something you have to kind of remember. And I think, the Ghostbusters game's scope is probably going to, that's the thing. I think if you hear, this is the final thing I'll say. I think if you hear there's like a PS5 exclusive Ghostbusters game coming, if I just said that, I think people's expectations and what they think in their head jump to a very high level. I think the possibilities are huge. Then when you say it's developed by Illfonic, and that's, I laugh, and you do lower the bar. And I don't say that as some, oh my God, Illfonic is like the worst studio in the world. But if you tell somebody that without telling them that it's Illfonic, because if you give it to like Sucker Punch or Naughty, you give it to like a AAA studio, it's like, oh my God, like what can they do with a Ghostbusters single player? Like, can you make it super dark? Like, and then all of a sudden you say it's Illfonic, and they say, okay, it's going to be a multiplayer thing. It may get repetitive. The maps are going to be all this, all this stuff. Those kind of things come with the territory, and Illfonic did a lot of that stuff themselves. So, I spent a lot of this video not being the most happy, not being the most convinced it'll be good in the world. I guess, just to remind people, that's just the kind of guy I am. I give games multiple chances, so it's not like I'm writing this game off. I want to see it. Obviously, we're still quite a while away, I think, it'll probably take years, probably 2-3 years before. Well, now, you know what? They make games kind of quick, so let's say maybe 1 or 2 years before we see it. Maybe even next year by the time we see it, and then we can go from there. But, I'm going to give it a chance. I want to enjoy it. Again, love-hate relationship with Predator, so it'll probably be a love-hate relationship with Ghostbusters. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I do a brand new video on the channel every single day, and so hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.